Hello, welcome once again to the One and Only Way Ministries. I'm Pastor Herman C. Avery Jr. I'm your host. Each week we're brought to you by the Progressive Community Missionary Baptist Church. Now that's the place where everybody is somebody and Jesus Christ is Lord of all. There we promote quality and not quantity. We're located at 3600 West Imperial Highway. That's Inglewood, California, and our zip there is 90303. We're also brought to you by the Greater New Bethel Baptist Church. That's the place where Christ is always the featured attraction. Dr. Earl A. Pleasant is the pastor there, and they're located at 601 East 99th Street, Inglewood, California, and their zip is 90301. We're also brought to you by the Heritage Music Foundation, where Dr. Margaret Pleasant Duro is the CEO, and they're located at 601 East 99th Street, Inglewood, California. The zip is 90301. Finally, we're brought to you by the Love of God Missionary Baptist Church, the place where God is on our side, and they're pastored by Reverend Antoine Garrett, and they're located at 2222, that's 42 West Florence Avenue, Los Angeles, California. The zip is 90043. Well, my brothers and sisters in television land, as we tell you each week, we come to you with a prepared Sunday church school lesson with the hope or the intention of providing you information. We don't care whether you're a Sunday church school teacher, a Bible teacher, a Bible student, or you may be just someone who's interested in the Bible. We hope that what we do will either help you in your ministry or help you in day-to-day living. We're currently in the spring quarter where we've been discussing God, the people, and the covenant. In Unit 1, we talked about signs of God's covenant. We're currently in Unit 2, where we're going to talk about a covenant in exile. We've already talked about holding to your convictions. Now we're going to talk about taking a stand. We have three topics in this subject. God's taking a stand. We have resistance, Daniel 3:10 through 13. The faithfulness, Daniel 3:16 through 18. The deliverance, Daniel 3, verse 21. We skip then to verse 24 through 26. With that, let's go take a look at this first topic, the resistance, Daniel chapter 3, verses 10 through 13. Thou, O king, hast made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, the flute, harp, suckbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden idol. And whosoever falleth not down and worshipeth, that he should be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. And then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage and fury, commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. If you would take a look at this, you would understand that I believe that there was some jealousy going on between the rulers of the Chaldeans of Babylon. And Nebuchadnezzar had gone into Israel, and they had captured Israel. They took over from the Syrians, and they brought, because of rebellion, they left them there for a while, but every now and then one of the kings would try to rebel against their captivity. which Isaiah had already told them it would be useless. But they tried anyway. And finally, Nebuchadnezzar said, I've had enough of this. Burn down the temple, destroy Jerusalem, and bring all the folk that we can use into captivity into Babylon. And you're going to find out that in that captivity there were 4 young men, Daniel, Azariah, Hananiah, and Mishael, whose names were then changed to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. The Bible says that the king he got so into himself that he made a golden image of himself, a big one, tall one, you couldn't miss it, out of gold, and made a decree that everybody should bow down. Now, I think he had a little inkling from the folk who were Babylonians, who were jealous that these Jews had been given positions of rulership in their country. They're in captivity, and because they were so smart, so intelligent, if you look at last Sunday's lesson, that they were put in prime places. And there was a lot of jealousy going on. I think the king had, so what you need to do is make an image to yourself and then have everybody in the kingdom bow down. Well, they knew that these fellows, they wouldn't even eat the food from the king's table because they didn't want to defile their bodies. And I think they knew that, so they said, we need to get rid of them. One way we can get rid of them is we can have a king to make a decree. And so they says, y'all, you've made the decree. And everyone that hears the sound of the trumpet, the sound of the cornet, the flute, the harp, every instrument, when this music is played, they shall fall down and worship your golden image. Well, as you would have it, there's some fellas that wouldn't bow. And this was the order of the thing that, and many of us know this story, it's not a new story, that if they did not bow down, they would be cast into a fiery furnace. Well, there was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego who refused to bow down, even though they were princesses and rulers over the province of Babylon. They said, no. Most of us, given that prosperity, given that prestige, even in a foreign land, say, look, I'm in captivity, but look, I'm doing better in captivity than most people are doing wherever they're doing. So whatever the king wants me to do, that's what I'm going to do. However, and these were young fellas, you don't have to get old and gray to know, and like most of it, and decide, well, now it's time for me I've sown all my oats, I've had all my fun, but now I'm going to serve the Lord. No, these were young men who determined from the very beginning that they were going to serve their God. They wasn't going to let anything deter them or prevent them. They were going to serve him. So they said, "O King, even though we have regard for thee and we know who you are and why you are, we know you have power, but we will not serve any other God. We won't serve your God. We won't worship your golden image. I don't care. We will not do it." And so he got outrageous. They made him upset that they would defy the orders and the decrees of the king. So once Nebuchadnezzar got the news that they refused to bow, he said, "Bring them to me. I want to hear it from their own mouth. Bring them to me. I want to talk to these young men. They must not understand this thing. They must have a problem. So I'm going to talk to them personally myself. So bring them unto me." Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought the men before the king. But before we go to the next outline, as I read this, the decree was that if you didn't bow, they were going to put you in a fiery furnace, and they was going to make it 7 times hotter. And I thought, how can you make a fire as hot? How can you make it hotter than a fire would be hot? But I don't know. I don't know how they could do it, but evidently they could. And so anyway, that takes us to the second outline, the faithfulness. That's verses 16 through 18. We skip a couple of verses and we go through 16 through 18 where it says, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our God whom ye serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, we shall not serve thy God, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Amen. And so we find here that when the king challenges these young men about what he wanted them to do, about the fact that he had made a decree and they refused to adhere to his decree. Watch this, how they responded to the king. Well, I'm sure Nebuchadnezzar said that, I know you're not refusing. You men are too smart for this. What is it just to bow down to gold image? What is it going to take from you? I mean, what is it going to cost you really? Nothing. You can save your position better than that. You can save your life. As much as I love you, I've already decreed that if you didn't do it, then you're going to be tossed into a fiery furnace 7 times hotter than any other furnace. So why would you defy me? Why would you enrage me like this? And they said, oh, King Nebuchadnezzar, watch this, y'all. This is a strange thing. They said, we're not careful to answer you. And I know some people wonder, what do they mean when they say, we don't have to think about it. It's not something that we have to ponder over. It's not something that we have to look at it carefully and decide whether we're going to do it or not. No, we don't have to be careful in our decision as to what we're going to do. We don't even have to think about it. Yeah, we know what your decree is. We know what it means to us if we defy the king. But I'd rather defy an earthly king than to defy the heavenly king. It seems to me that's what they were saying. So they says, if it be so, watch this condition, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace. And watch this, y'all. Then they go on to say, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. What do you think that meant? Wait a minute. He'll deliver us from the fiery furnace, but he also delivers out of the hand of the king. I guess it's like we've heard people say, and maybe even they were saying, we got a can't lose situation here. We got a win-win. If you put us in the fiery furnace and we perish, we will reign with our God. Nevertheless, if our God delivers us, then we'll reign some more here on the earth. We don't care where we reign with God, whether it be in the earth or in the heavens, we will reign with him, O King, and it ain't nothing you can do about it. We will be delivered one way or the other. We'll be out of captivity. And see, some folk don't understand that once we leave this earth, if you're in Christ, you're out of the captivity. You don't have to deal with Satan anymore. You don't have to worry about him making his deals, his decrees. You don't have to worry about him trying to stop you or prevent you. It's a win-win for us. Like Paul says, absent from the body, present with the Lord. He can bless me while I'm in this earth, that's fine. But I know when I leave here, I'll be blessed in the heavens because we have treasures in heaven unknown unto men. I heard some writers say, eyes have not seen, and neither has it entered in the hearts of men. Ears have not heard, neither has it entered into the hearts of men. The thing that God has prepared for those who love him. And I think these Hebrew boys, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, they understood that fact. And then they go on to say, but if by chance he doesn't, O king, we want you to know this. No matter what, we will not serve thy gods, nor will we worship your golden idol which you set up. And listen, y'all, everything that glitters is not gold. And that's how Satan trips up so many people with stuff and things. He puts stuff and things, and we get all enamored by stuff and things, and we forget who God is. And we put him on the wayside, put him on the back burner. We don't any longer hold him in esteem and in our priority. Houses and cars and mink coats and diamond rings and things get in our way. Good jobs and prestige with your name on the marquee. Even our family and our children take priority over God. But these young fellas decided nothing would prevent them from worshiping and praising the whole only true and living God. My brothers and sisters, we got that song that says stand, and we have a saying that says, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. But let me say this, if you don't stand for Jesus, then you won't be able to stand for much. Anything else you stand for is trivial. It's temporal. It doesn't last. Anything else does not last. It is just temporal. Can I help you? My dream car, and I'm not bragging, but God blessed me to get my dream car. It was a Jaguar. Yeah, it was. And when I got that car, I took it to the wash every week. Had it polished inside. I even got me a tarpaulin to put over it so the dust and the dirt wouldn't get on it. Never parked my cars in the garage because we had junk in there, but I cleaned out my garage so I could park my Jaguar in the garage. Yeah. But one day I parked it, on my job, way out, so no one would tap it, bang it, ding it. But evidently, somebody saw it and knew it. And way over there, I come out and there was a bent, and there was a guard on that lot. And I said, man, what happened to my car? I didn't see a thing. Didn't see anything. And I was upset. I was upset. I was angry. And the Spirit spoke to say, what you angry about? My car. He said, that's just tin. That's steel. That car is just like any other car. It was only intended to take you from point A to point B. So don't you know who I am? If that car gets torn up, if you lose this car, I have the power to get you another one. I helped you get that one, didn't I? What are you trying to say? Stuff and things. He taught me that they're fleeting. After that, I'm telling you, I got tired of putting the tarpaulin on there anyway. The tarpaulin's still in my garage. I didn't use it for years and years. It just taking up space because I discovered that no matter what I did, the car got old. I lost my enamel with it, and I even after that said it's a truck because I hauled everything in it and everybody in it, a bus, a truck, because I was using it in the service of God, and it don't make no difference what it is. If you ain't using it in the service of God, you might as well not have it. Oh, Lord, did I say that? If you're not using it in the service of God, you might as well not have it. Well, let's move on to this final topic, the deliverance. That's Daniel chapter 3, verse 21, then we're going to skip down to 24 through 26. It reads like this. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hose, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fires. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake and said unto his counselors, Did we not cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, True, O king. They answered and said, Lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt, and the form of the 4th is like the Son of God. Then Nebuchadnezzar came down near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace, and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the fire, of the midst of the fire. I read this and I said, well, why they bound them up so much? They're getting ready to throw them in a fiery furnace. Why they put all their clothes on. They decked them out. They put it, and then they bound them up. So, like, if you throw me in the fire, what am I going to do? You understand why you have to bound me and do all this. But they wanted to make sure, those servants of the king, that is, wanted to make sure. You remember I talked about they wanted to make the furnace 7 times hotter. You read the story in some of these verses we skipped where those who prepared the fire. And they believe it wasn't like a furnace that you open the door and throw stuff in. It was like a pit, an oven that's in the ground. And they threw stuff down in there to ignite the fire and make it burn down into the pit. Well, these fellas, whoever they were, who were tasked with creating this fire, that fire got so hot, and only God can do this, is that when they went through some more flammable material on the fire, the flames jumped up so high that it literally consumed those who were feeding the fire. That's a hot fire. That's a hot fire. I don't know if they were tasked with keeping the fire burning and hot, but we do know that the Bible says that on the next morning, King Nebuchadnezzar got up and with haste because he loved those fellas and he wanted to see what would happen, because they challenged him when they said, King Nebuchadnezzar, we're going to serve our God. And I think Nebuchadnezzar knew that they were real about their God, and they served him and they worshiped him. Even in his kingdom, even in captivity, they praised the only true and living God. So he wanted to see what their God had done for him. So he said he made haste, he rushed down there. And then some of the folks who was with him, his counselors, his advisors, the one who had egged him on to do this thing in the beginning, he says to them, we cast 3 in there. Look, didn't we do that? And they said, yeah, King, that's what happened. We put 3 men in there. He said, but wait a minute, look. And I don't know how close he got to the fire. I don't know how much the fire was burning, but it amazed me it didn't consume the king. Or either the king was so adamant on what he wanted to see, what he believed to be true, he ignored the flames of the furnace to get close to see what happened to them fellas. And said, look, I see 4 of them I see 4 people. I see 4 men walking around. And watch this, y'all, watch this. 'Cause this, it's amazing. He says, and the 4th one looks like the Son of God. Wait a minute. Nebuchadnezzar, what do you know about how God's Son looks? Looks like the Son of God. You know who the Son of God is, don't you? That in their despair, God the Father dispatched God the Son to go down and fan those flames. You know how preachers like to do sometimes. He said, in the midst of the flame, they walked around in a refrigerator. You understand? Because nothing happened. It said they were not hurt. They were not burned. Now, and I think that the Bible had them to put all of that stuff on for surely. Clothes in a fire, if nothing else would burn. They would be sins. The Bible said none of it. They were not hurt. Then Nebuchadnezzar came closer to it and said unto them, y'all come out, y'all come on out of there. Watch this, how he addresses, ye servants of the Most High God, come forth. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth out of the midst of the fire. And then you know what Nebuchadnezzar did? He declared that these young men serve the Most High God. If anybody messes with them, they got to come through me. Nebuchadnezzar made another decree. If anybody touches a hair on their head, if anybody bothers Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they're going to have to deal with me, and I'll tear them into pieces. Oh, I wish I had time. Y'all do know that one day Nebuchadnezzar himself looked up to the heavens and declared, thou art. He declared them. This is Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego's God. Don't mess with him. But one day in a field, eating grass with the cattle, Nebuchadnezzar himself declared, he is God. Now I see, now I know. Well, my brothers and sisters, the clock on the wall says it's time to go. We got to get out of here. But again, our slate will come up at the end of this program. Our address, our telephone number, our email address, website address, write us, call us, email us, or tune into our website. Download this program. You can get the previous programs, you can get the current program, and we even have future programs. So bye-bye, and tune in again.